Welcome along. This is a presentation covering charities using Sage 50 accounts. My name's Liz and it's my pleasure to spend the next 45 minutes or so taking you through the benefits of Sage 50 Accounts 2013 for you and your charity clients. This is a live interactive session, so if you think of any questions on the way through today, please don't hesitate to type them into the WebEx chat panel and I'll read them out and do my best to answer them at the end. The agenda for today's session is to look at what is Charities in Sage 50 accounts, to look at the reporting requirements, there's a legislation update, and then the key features of the software. We'll then jump into the demonstration part of today's presentation, where we'll open up the software and we'll look at setting up a charity, processing and reporting for a charity. Then we'll move on and look at how the software integrates with other Sage software, the specification, and then what to do after today's session. At the end, if you could just spare a few minutes of your time to give me some feedback, and then we'll have time for your questions. So what is Sage 50 accounts for charities? Well, the charity option is available as standard, so there's no additional cost for getting that option within Sage 50 accounts. So it provides you with the analysis required for a charity or a non-profit organisation. So financial reporting for charities is a complex area, as I'm sure you're aware, and there's frequent changes to the reporting requirements. So all charities need to ensure that they do comply with the Companies Act 2006 and the Financial Reporting Standard for smaller entities, being the FRSI. The format of accounts and reports for charities is very different from other organisations, and the regulations and requirements placed on charities are strict and various. So the Charity Commission have investigated a number of registered charities, so care should be taken to ensure that the annual reports produced by the charity clearly demonstrate the public benefit the charity provides. And most charities do tend to use an accounting system such as Sage, but a lot of the time charities often fail to use the software to its full advantage. So charities and non-profit organisations need to submit Statement of Recommended Practice reports. So the charities option includes a Statement of Financial Activities, or a SOFA report, which you can then use to analyse the income for the charity and also the expenditure for each of the SOFA categories. You can use the charity option to set up funds within the accounts, and following this, each transaction posted in Sage accounts can then be linked to a fund, which gives you further analysis on the source of the income and expenditure in the form of a funds analysis report. Donations made to a charity are often eligible for gift aid. If a donation is made by a UK taxpayer, using gift aid enables a charity to reclaim the basic rate tax on the donation. So Sage accounts can flag a customer who donates using gift aid, and then it can produce a gift aid report based on their donations. So that gives you the total donations received and the total tax claimed figure. So as you may be aware, from April 2013, charities are now able to claim a top-up payment equivalent to gift aid on up to £5,000 of small cash donations collected in the UK each year, without needing to obtain a gift aid declaration from the donor. So a small donation is anything that's £20 or less. So to qualify for the small donation scheme, the charity must have been operating with a good compliance record. Sorry, move that back. Within the gift aid rules for a minimum of 3 years. An accurate record of donations is required, with the ability to separate small donations from standard donations. So the new release of Sage 50 Accounts version 2014 has this functionality already built in, and it is due for release at the end of July. So if you do have any charity clients that want to get up and running with the software now, if you buy it for them now, they will get 13 months for the price of 12, and the new version will be sent out to them once it's released. So the key features in the software for Charities are the Charities Launchpad. This is designed to make setting up and getting to grips with the software easier and work with the areas of the software unique to Charities. Membership management, so making it easier to work with members of the organisation. Departmental budgets, so we recognise that this is widely used across the charity sector, particularly for fund and activity management. You can also use project costing, so it's important to those of you needing to monitor how funds are spent against given projects, with the ability to manage receipts as well as costs against individual projects. An HMRC approved gift aid report is available within the software, along with other areas of management reporting, which is obviously of particular importance to charities. And the software does provide a great degree of flexibility to provide you with the analysis that you need to monitor the charity's incomes and outgoings. To get the best out of Sage 50 accounts, you need to set it up to work the way that you want. So this means switching options on and setting up records. So we recommend that you start using the charity option at the beginning of a new financial year. A new set of nominal codes and a new chart of accounts are also recommended. If you do need to remove your existing data, so if your client's already been using Sage, you must rebuild your data and enter opening balances at the start of the new financial year. So you know that you'll get support from our guys on the phone, so if you're doing this for a charity, I would advise you to just give us a call on the support line and we'll be able to help you and talk you through that. But it doesn't mean you need to set up a new client from scratch. You can simply just change it. And we recommend doing that at the start of a new financial year. So enabling charities for a brand new company. So when you install the software and you create a company, I don't know if you've ever noticed before, but there is actually an option to select a charity as a business type during this company setup process. So what will happen is the software will then be set up for the needs of a non-profit organisation. And this includes things like a specific chart of accounts and terms such as funds and donations. So choosing a setting so that your software is set up for the needs of a non-profit organisation, you can go into the company preferences and under the parameters tab you need to ensure that it's enabled as a charity or non-profit organisation in there. So I will show you that shortly when we jump into the software. And then establishing your chart of accounts. So the chart of accounts is the collective term used to describe the named accounts, so the nominal accounts which are used to monitor the income and expenditure of an organisation. And Sage 50 accounts offers a chart of accounts specifically designed for a non-profit organisation, providing a range of nominal accounts with names that I'm sure are familiar to you, such as donations received, grants and legacies. So we'll just go through how to make sure that you've got the chart of accounts all set up correctly. And as I said before, if you do need to move from one to the other, so from a standard general business to a charity, then please don't hesitate to give us a phone and we'll help you with that. So I'll just jump out of here and into the software. So I'm in a charity client at the moment, but what I'll do just to take you through the process is I'll set up a brand new company. So you've got your step-by-step wizard for setting up a new company. Obviously you'll have access to do this as an accountant with your multi-company version. Your clients, if they've only got a single company version Obviously they'll just need to make sure that they make the right choice when they're setting up the company from scratch. So under the select business type, you've got the option of sole trader, partnership, limited company or charity. So we'll choose the charity option. We'll just choose a financial year start date. If they're registered for VAT, obviously input the relevant details. The base currency. You can click through that password, so you don't need to input a password at that stage if you just want to leave it as blank. And then create, and it will go through and it will build the relevant chart of accounts for a charity or a non-profit organisation. Oh, actually have to type. Okay, so if we just have a look, it opens up at the company first of all. So if we have a look at the nominal ledger on here and come up along the top, we've got the chart of accounts option. So if we open up this chart of accounts, you'll notice that now instead of your normal sales categories, it's now been replaced with donations and grants, fund generation, charitable activities, etc., and the same from the purchases point of view. Direct expenses, overheads, and obviously you've still got the chance to tailor these as well, and the same with the balance sheet. So it refers to funds at the bottom. And you can see the preview of the P&L as well at this stage. So you've still got the ability to edit if you want to work with your client to change the layout of that chart of accounts or to change the descriptions as well. The other settings area is just within the company preferences that I mentioned before. So you've got a parameters tab in here. So if you're setting up a client from scratch as a charity, it will automatically enable the charity or non-profit options within the settings. However, if it's one that you need to convert from a normal company over into a charity, then you'll need to ensure that you come in and select that option as well. So we'll now have a look at how income is analysed and managed within the software. So obviously for charities, we recognise that there is a greater degree of analysis required to monitor how funds are spent, more so than just a standard business. So first of all, where the income is from. So we have a look at adding the source of the income first of all. And then next it's the type of fund. So is it going to be a restricted, an unrestricted or an endowment fund? So they are the three different fund types that are set up as standard within the software. And then there's a further degree of complexity from activities. And then finally, additional notes are required to support how income is spent to ensure transparency. So finally, this area is supported through our final accounts production software, so either Sage Accounts Production or Sage Accounts Production Advanced. They both have charity modules. Sage Accounts Production, the standard variant. The charity module doesn't come as standard, but you can purchase it as an additional module. But with Sage Accounts Production Advanced, you do get the charity functionality in there as standard. So that just allows you to create the final trustees reports in there as well. So now move on and have a look at actually processing within the charity module for one of your clients. So as I mentioned, there's the charity Launchpad. So this just allows you to set up the client, shows you all the different variants of ways of entering information and the different features available all within one central location, so we'll jump into that shortly. Also how to manage all the membership, so just show you how to set up all your donors and members as part of the charity. You can also use departments within the charity as well, so you can also set up departmental budgets. So if you want to be quite specific and provide that kind of added value to your clients as well, so you could either obviously manage it for them, or you could go out and provide some training from that point of view. And it also integrates with the project costing element. So obviously really important to make sure that individual projects are monitored to see how funds are being spent against given projects. So you've got the ability to manage receipts as well as costs against individual projects in there as well. So I'll just jump back into the software and I'll just open up my other charity that I was working on earlier on. So in here we've got the Charities Launchpad, so it will open up by default at your company module down at the bottom on the left hand side, and you'll notice now under the links the descriptions in here are different, and we also now have our charity Launchpad down the bottom. So just go through them in turn, so you make sure you've got a good understanding of how they all relate. So you've got your SOFA categories, so you can enter the title areas of your SOFA report in here. So if you can edit them if you wish at that stage. Very straightforward. And then you can also assign nominal codes to SOFA categories, just to make sure you've got it assigned to the correct category. If it's not applicable, it's just left as none. If you want to change the SOFA category or clear it, you can use the buttons down the bottom as well. So when we get down to your normal kind of sales categories, it changes to donations received and the standard SOFA categories against that. You can choose from the drop down of any of the other SOFA categories that you've just tailored in the first button at the top left. As I mentioned, you can use departments. So if you intend to use department code, you need to enter them under this department option. So I've got a few set up in here. So it just means that I can also set up departmental budgets as well. So I've got my budgeting option switched on, and I'll just show you how to do that shortly in a moment. So you can see in here the different nominal areas, but you can also assign just a department to that. So at the moment all of my budgets are just set as default. I've not departmentalised my budgets, but you can split them down into individual departments, which obviously gives you that greater insight when you come to report as well. And then obviously entering your funds. So you create the individual funds that you want to be able to monitor. So just to add a fund in here, you just type in the name and then you select, as I said before, you've got your 3 standard types of funds, so unrestricted, restricted and endowment. So if we just set up a new fund, so it could be that somebody said, well, we're going to give you some money for this marathon, but we want it to go to the cat and dog home or something. Anything that you make from that is going specifically to a certain area within the charity, depending what the charity is. And then you can select the nominal account that you want it to relate to. So is it just your general funds or anything else in there? If you've got an opening balance in that fund, and if it relates to a certain contact or institution, then you can assign it to that as well. I mentioned before that you can use projects with Charities as well, which is really good functionality to be able to do. You need to set up your projects first of all. So you would just say, for example, you might have this marathon as a separate project as well. So you want to be able to record all of the income that you get from the marathon, so all of the donations and the money that you make goes against the marathon. And then in here you can select what stage that project is at, so we'll say it's active at the moment. So what the start date of the project is would be more likely to be when you start working on it rather than the date of the marathon itself. So say the marathon might be in September, so you might start working on it in May, and the project itself might want to run until the end of the financial year. If it's related to a specific customer account, you can assign it to that, otherwise you can just leave it blank. So you can set obviously the address of the site of the project, specific contact name and telephone number, and the email address of the contact. If there was a price quoted, probably not as applicable from a charity point of view, but depends what the project is. And then that means that when we come and process invoices and things like that, we'll be able to assign them to that project. In terms of entering donors and members, you just do this on their standard record. So you set them out just like a customer within Sage. So I've got a few people set up as donors and members already, but we'll just add a new one just now. So we'll just give them a reference number. And the person's name, so it could just be me. Any opening balance, probably not as applicable again within Charities. For gift aid purposes, you will need to put in their registered address. Not entirely sure if you need a postcode or not, but these days you tend to. And then you can put in the default fund. So if you think that every time they make a donation it's going to be assigned automatically to a fund, you could select that by standard. If the gift aid declaration's been received, then you can tick that box as well. And then you can put in the date that it became valid, so you could just put in the first of the financial year if that's when they filled it out. Contact name and details, email address if you want to be able to email them over any of the declaration forms or anything like that. You do need to tick to say that and then put in the relevant email address there. And then in here you simply select the type of record that you're setting up. So is it a donor, customer, member, or are they just inactive? So we'll just put in a donor at this time, and then what their membership details are, so when they're a member since, what their renewal date is, and then you can set up reminders as well. This option, as it says there, it just allows you to run your SOFA report, so it's a quick way of jumping to it instead of having to go through your financial reporting options. So if we click on here, you'll be able to see the standard layout. So you've got the different income, so just as we chose in our settings menu earlier on, we've got the list of all of your SOFA descriptions down the left hand side. And then you've got it split between your unrestricted, restricted, and then your endowment funds as well to give you your total. And then you've got your net of income, your outgoing resources before transfers at the bottom of your report there. And just your standard functionality within Sage, where you could export it out to a PDF or you could email it, and you can obviously go in and amend the layout as well with your reporting, with your report designer. And then you can also select the format of your gift aid declaration as well in here. So in here we've got our details of our donor, and you can come down and again you can amend that within the report designer side of things as well. So there's the one that we've just set up there. Okay, so that's just a quick overview of the Charity Launchpad, so you can see all of the different areas that you can access from there. We've had a look at managing the membership, so in terms of setting up your customers for any donors or members from that side of things. We've looked at departmental budgeting, and we've looked at setting up the project costing side as well. So what we'll do now is we'll jump in and we'll have a look at actually processing some transactions, just to show you how you would manage that from a charity point of view as well. So first of all, we'll just jump into the bank module, and I'll just show you how to account for the fact that a donation's been received. So how you do that is you just select the relevant bank account that the money's coming into. So it might have just been a cash donation, but in this case we'll just put it straight into the bank account. So with the relevant account highlighted, you click onto your donations button, and in here you can put in the person that you received the money from, so that's your customer records that are coming up now. The date, I've got my programme date set to the end of the year, but obviously you could put in the actual date of the donation in there. You could put in a reference against it, so all the same functionality that you're used to, and then what nominal account do you want to link it to. So is it anything unusual, or is it just a standard donation received? Now for this person, it's defaulting to the marathon fund because that's what we set up on their record. And then, as we mentioned before, you can assign amounts to departments as well. So we could put that this was in the events department because it's a marathon, and then details of the donation, so just money so somebody's given you some money specifically towards that, given you £1,000, and then you just save your transaction. So that's how easy it is to process the donations that are received. Now when it comes to managing things on a project basis, you could use your bank payments and bank receipts to do that as well. So say you're paying out some money related specifically to that project that we just set up, then again you select the relevant bank account, give it a reference and a nominal code, so what exactly does it relate to? So if we just say it was fundraising expenses, again we can assign it to that events department. In here we can put it against our marathon fund, and then in the project reference we can also select our marathon so that that total amount that we've paid out will be assigned also to that project, so we can then report on it on a project basis as well. You can also use the cost codes. It's up to you whether you want to have that level of analysis within your projects as well. So it could be a material charge, for example, and in there we could just put something like barrier rental for event or something. How much would barrier rental be? Probably more than you would think. So we'll put £2,000 against that, and we can save that bank payment. And obviously you can go down and do multiple ones in the same screen. And then exactly the same with bank receipts. So if we've received some money in, which is specifically related to that project. So again, you can assign it to the same department, assign it to the same fund, and this time we get the option to assign that income to that specific project as well. Again, you can put details in there of exactly what that relates to, and then you can put in the amount that was received. So that could be ticket sales or something for that one, or what do you call it, event registration for a marathon, isn't it, not ticket sales. Okay, so you've processed a couple of your transactions against there. You still have all of the normal facilities as you do within the normal Sage software where you can set up recurring transactions. So, you know, if people are paying direct debits, as we seem to get asked to do an awful lot these days from charities, they can set them up within here as well. And then you've also got access to your normal bank reports as well from that point of view. From a project point of view, as I mentioned before, you now get the ability to report on it from a project level. So you've got your reports, quick link down here, or your usual one up the top there. So if you just want to report on one project, then obviously same rules apply, you just select that relevant project. And then you've got a whole variety of reports that you can choose from. So you've got committed costs, you can do it down by cost code or cost type. You've got your day books as well, project details, project profit, purchase orders per project, resources and stock allocation. So if you're used to using projects anyway, then you'll be quite au fait with this type of reporting. But if we just show you an example, I'll just run this profit report for the project. So in there we can see, split it down by cost code. So my materials, I've got my actual build and actual cost to give me my profit related specifically just to that one project. So really handy if you want to see whether your charity projects are making money or not. And you hope that they are. So that's your project level reporting at that stage. So what we'll do is we'll just jump back in and we'll have a quick look at the next slide, which takes us on to the additional levels of reporting that you get access to as well. So in terms of charity reporting, as I mentioned before, the HMRC gift aid reporting is all approved by HMRC, so it's fine to use what's in the software for that. And as we mentioned before, management reporting is obviously a particularly important area to charities. So the software does provide the same degree of flexibility as it does with other businesses, so you can provide the level of analysis that you need to monitor the income and outgoings. So Sage 50 does offer a range of reports specifically designed for non-profit organisations. So they include the profit and loss by fund, the balance sheet by fund. There's also a fund nominal activity report. And then, as I mentioned before, the gift aid. So this report identifies the transactions against customers who have been marked as gift aided. So this can be used as a basis for the statutory gift aid report. And to work correctly, the gift aid options on the donor, so the customer record, must be switched on and the donations entered into your software using the donation receipt or sales invoice entry method. So just as we did before, you need to make sure that all of the relevant details are in there for that customer. There's also the gift aid declaration, as my voice goes again. This is a standard declaration that comes with the software, and you can print it and get the donor to make the declaration, and then you use it to enter the information into Sage 50 accounts. The SOFA that we've had a quick look at before, this is the report that you're required to submit to the appropriate reporting body if your accounts are prepared on an accruals basis. And if needed, you can change the heading in this report as well. And then you've also got the fund activity report. So this just lists the fund activities, providing details of individual transactions for each fund by department and nominal account. So we'll just jump back into the software and we'll have a look at each of these reports in turn. Okay, so we'll have a look at the P&L by fund first of all. So you do that from within the company menu, and then you click onto your funds option up the top here. And then, as you can see, if I just move this over slightly, you can see that you've got the profit and loss. So you just select the fund that you want to produce a P&L for, and then you can preview that. So you can see the donation that came in, the charitable activities that we've just processed, and then we've got our expenses coming out as well to give us the net profit in this case for the period and the year to date. As you can see in here, there's also the balance sheet by fund. So I don't think I've got any balance sheet transactions on there. I don't know if my general one's got balance sheet. Let's have a look. Yep. So my general fund, I've got a balance sheet, just the standard layout as you would expect, but down the bottom it's referring to funds. Down there. And then you'll notice in here that we've also got the ability to transfer money. So this will just create a journal in the background so you can transfer money between funds. So this is only to transfer money between funds, not to transfer it from bank accounts or anything like that. And you can also view the activity on any of these funds as well. Okay, the next one is your company report. So under your normal reporting window for your company side of things, that's where you get access to your nominal activity report. And in here, you'll now notice that we've got our fund nominal activity. So if we just preview that, so you can choose what fund it is that you want to run. I'll just choose it for all of them. And in here, you can see your breakdown of your activity in there. You can scroll down through the rest of that as well. We've already had a look at the gift aids. We've had a quick look at the sofa report as well in there, but you can jump back in. You've got your gift aid declaration report in here. So you've got quick access, and you can just, I don't know if you know how to make these favourites, but you simply just click on the star and it will then move into your favourites column up here. So if it's ones that you want to run all the time, then you can do that. So you get the breakdown by donor. Your funds analysis report again, your gift aids and tax repayments claims report, so to help you complete your R68 form in there. So the donor name, address, postcode, the date of the donation and the amount, so you've got your total donations all calculated up there for you. You've got your nominal list as well, grouped by your sofa categories, and then you've got your sofa that we've had a look at before, so we'll just have a quick preview of each of these. So these are the ones that we didn't have categorised, and then further to that we've got the different sofa categories, so it's just given their numeric categories and split them out into the different nominal codes at that stage. And your sofa, just as we saw before, so it's quite handy having that quick access to everything from the one charity area of your reporting side of things as well. As I mentioned before, if you've got departments set up, then you can also come in and you can go into your advanced budgeting. If you've not used budgets before, I'll just show you how to set that up within your company preferences as well. Will I remember? So quite a handy report with the breakdown by the different departments as well, and it's up to you, just as part of running that report, what departments you want to run it for. So I'll just close out of here quickly. Your company preferences, you've got a budgeting option in there. So if you change it to advanced rather than standard budgeting, you'll be able to do your departmental in-depth budgeting, so it's broken down against departments and then broken down by nominal code as well, which is ideal for charities. Okay, if we just jump back through into the software, out of the software and into the integration. Right, so we have our accountant link first of all. So this is the ability to link your client's information. So if your client's going to be using Sage on their own, processing away, then they can send you a small accountant link file. And what happens is that sucks the information into your company file for them, but they can continue processing at their end. And then it means that if you've made changes, you can then send that back via the accountant link as well. So something to be aware of. Again, you can phone support if you've not used it before, but it's been about in the software for many, many years now. So even if your client's on a slightly older version than you, they'll still have access to Accountant Link. It has been improved over recent years, so if you tried it initially and you thought, no, I don't really like that, I'll just stick to my backups, please do give it a go again, because as I said, the amount of things that it can transfer now has been greatly improved over recent years. Sage 50 forecasting, so you can still use forecasting software, integrate that with Sage 50 accounts for charities as well. So obviously it will just allow that additional level of budgeting, be able to do what if scenarios, produce nice forecast reports as well. And as it says there, it's really easy to get the information into forecasting. It just sucks it in from the Sage 50 accounts company file. And then finally, you can also use the Sage 50 payroll nominal link. So you've still got that ability, and it will refer to cost centres. So map cost centres to funds as well, if you can see that on my screen just now. So you still do have the ability to set up the nominal link from payroll. If you've ever used that in the past, I'm sure you will have. Really good functionality, so you're just cutting down on processing time, making the most of the efficiencies that we provide with an integrated suite of software. You can see in there the P&L and the balance sheet analysis as well, so the fund and the things it's linking over to. So then I've just given you finally a specification sheet on there. So obviously it's now looking at the kind of standard Sage 50 prices. As I said, there's no additional cost for getting the charity functionality switched on. So the price of the standard software, it starts at £610, excluding VAT, but that's before your accountant partner discount. Company size, obviously, probably not really an issue from a charity point of view. Obviously they could have multiple charities that are set up, so they might need multi-company, but in terms of number of employees, in terms of people using it, they should be okay. Again, just make sure you get the right level of license for you. It's not the software that's going to restrict you in any of these matters, it's purely just the license that you've got for your clients, so they might only have a single user license, so that's how it's determined. They will have different support options available to them as well. Now they do get 45 days free Sage cover whenever they buy any piece of software, but they can obviously extend that to annual cover. But you know that you can always support them through your own account as well now. There are different training options, so we do have classroom training, I don't think we've got any specific charity courses in the classrooms, but we do offer customised courses out on site. And again, you can just speak to your account manager if you want to get prices for that. In terms of operating systems, I've just given you a bit of the system spec there, just to make sure you're aware and up to date from that point of view. So, as we come to the end of today's presentation, what's next? So your regional account manager can be contacted on 0845 111 1111. So they are available. There's a kind of hidden option. If you press number 7, you will be able to get through and input their extension number. So I've just provided you with their extension numbers there if you want to write them down. You can also arrange data profiling for your clients, so that just gives you a better insight into what versions of Sage they're using at the moment. So if they're on Instant or an old version of Sage Accounts, or if they're on their own payroll software, we can manage all that for you. And that will just make it much easier for us to be able to quote on upgrades. If we know what clients are linked to you, then we can get the upgrades arranged through there. Consider Sage Cover Extra, that keeps them up to date with all of the future versions as well. As I mentioned, if they buy it now, they will also get 2014 because it's only due out in the next month or so. But obviously going forward from that, if they want to get access to 2015, etc., which seems like years away, but I'm sure it's not, then they can also upgrade to Sage Extra to get that as well. You may or may not be aware that there's loads of resources available to you as accountant partners on our Sage Exchange website, and they're there with things like logos and email templates where you can embed your own logo in there as well. So you can use that to promote Sage to your clients and to prospects as well. And please feel free to use the service that we offer where one of our business consultants will come out and present to you at your own practice or your venue of your choice. So the service of the business consultant coming out is completely free of charge, and they can cover whatever software you want to showcase to your clients at that stage. So that just brings us to the end of today's session. I hope you've got a bit more insight into Sage 50 for Charities now. If I could just take a few minutes of your time to gather some feedback.